Give everyone a few minutes, hopefully we'll get some attendees. All right, everybody's joining. We'll give everyone a couple minutes. Hi, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
You too. You too.
We're going to give everyone a few minutes. Looks like we've got some folks jumping in. Thanks for joining us. If anybody wants to chat in and let us know that for our sound is okay, let us know where you're from, where you're calling in from today. I always like to do that and see where everybody's located. Feel free to shoot us a chat or a Q&A and let us know where you're from. And if we sound okay.
Yes, importantly that, yeah.
Can anyone hear us?
Yeah, I'm from Phoenix, so that's fine.
Oh, crystal clear. Thank you, Carol. We got Carol. We got Chris from Phoenix, Alison from Philadelphia. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Get my slides in order while we're giving everybody a minute.
Oh, nice.
Oh, did we get a fun response?
Yeah, a fellow Arizonian. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
We love it. I was laughing. I was in Arizona for work a couple of weeks ago, and I was taking a red eye home. And I was one of those, I decided like, I'll be one of those people and buy a sweatshirt in the airport. So I have a really nice, way too large XXL Arizona sweatshirt that's now really comfortable though. So I'm glad I got it. But I've never purchased like a random shirt in the airport until just 2 weeks ago. And I travel a lot, but I was cold.
I get that.
All right, everyone. I see we've got some people still getting logged in. So I'm just going to go ahead and share here in a second and we'll get going in about 1 to 2 minutes. Chris, can you see my screen okay? I'll start the slideshow in a minute.
Yeah, I do see the screen, but it is not presenting yet.
No, I'm just giving it a second, just in case.
All right, that works.
All right. Well, let's talk about some housekeeping in the meantime, and then we'll get going. Certainly, thank you everyone for joining us. I am joined here by my friend and Black Diamond employee, Chris Gonzales. I am Alison Susko with AssetMap, and we are super excited to talk about our recently updated integration. But first, a couple of housekeeping items. We are going to record today. So if anybody that you know couldn't make it, or you have anybody or yourself that needs to jump early, no problem. This will be recorded and we will distribute it out as appropriately to registrants and attendees. So you will get it. We also love to take questions. So if you have any questions for us, especially once we get into the integration, please type it into the chat or Q&A, and we would be happy to address that at the end. Certainly anything about Black Diamond, AssetMap, or the integration itself, we are happy to talk about and excited to be here today. So all of that being said, I am going to go ahead and start advancing for Chris here. Game plan is, Chris is going to talk a bit about Black Diamond and what the product offers. I'm going to jump into AssetMap and level set a little bit about AssetMap, and then we're going to show off the integration. So let's get started. Chris, you're up.
Perfect. Thanks, Alison. I'm actually looking forward to seeing AssetMap and some of the new features you built, not only within your interface, but how you've expanded our data flow and how that impacts our existing mutual clients. But before we jump into that, I would like to discuss the value Black Diamond Wealth Platform brings and how that impacts the rest of the technology around it. Now, Black Diamond provides a ton of functionality from front to back, and I certainly don't want to go through all of it. But back office tasks such as portfolio management, reporting, to billing and trading are all done within Black Diamond ecosystem. And the core need that we solve in the beginning of a lot of our processes is pulling in all of your clients' investment information together, cleaning it up and providing it in a platform that we can use to run your business and communicate to clients. On top of portfolio management, we've taken it a step further and have solutions for rebalancing, trading, billing, and relationship management, not only providing support to the accounts being brought in every day, but pulling down all the details around your clients and their financial lives. As we know, we're not normally the source of all that household specific data like address and phone number, and that's where our integration capabilities start to shine. We have a wide range of integration partners, but our most utilized would be in CRM and financial planning. Now, connecting to your existing CRM is vital in order to manage client relationships in Black Diamond, but the reason why we have such a great relationship with AssetMap is a financial picture is one, not easy to convey to investors, and two, populating the financial data isn't always a straightforward process. But with Black Diamond being sourced from Advent, we bring in data we bring in data from over 900 data sources, which even includes a lot of the alternative assets out there. So between utilizing Black Diamond to bring in every account your investor has, and Asset Map creating complex mapping for those financials, we create a really powerful picture for the investor. Now, before Alison shows you everything Asset Map can do and what's new with our integration, for those of you who haven't seen Black Diamond, I want to give you guys a quick tour of some of our key features. And one of our first screens you'll see, and this really encapsulates everything I've been talking about, is the client view. And this is something that is truly utilized as the central hub for the relationship or the household. This view allows you to see everything: current, past, potential performance, or current, past, and potential performance, custodial alerts, status of documents, and more, all at a glance. You can utilize their financial data, view and change members of the household, see important tasks. When a client calls in, this is the main dashboard you utilize to see key important details. With client meetings, this view again gives you the knowledge to go into that meeting well-versed in the client's financial picture. And like I said earlier, the household data isn't always starting in Black Diamond, but we focus on utilizing API to communicate to several different CRMs, whether you utilize Salentica, Salesforce, Wealthbox. We integrate to almost all the industry-leading CRMs. So between that and our extensive list of account aggregates really makes this client view quite a powerful tool. Now, I do want to show everyone some of the modules that really separate Black Diamond, and one of those being our rebalancer. I won't spend too much time going into it, but this robust system can handle a large variety of tasks, from the straight through trade processing to strategic allocations and model management. We also set a lot of focus on proactive monitoring with tax loss harvesting thresholds, cash requirements, portfolio drift, and again, I'm just naming a few. But next slide here, we'll see what the actually kind of build looks like here. And when Black Diamond handles all the aggregation of your accounts, and you can see that this is built into Black Diamond, it really only makes sense to have it rebalance as soon as those accounts go through their nightly update, which keeps the Black Diamond rebalancer efficient. When no data has to be sent to a third party, it keeps the processing time optimal in a fast-paced market, which brings me to another big module that empowers Black Diamond and billing. We will also manage your fee structure. We have a number of methods to support your firm, from fee schedules, tiered, flat fees, and more. Another big component to billing is the history. Our system gives you an audible structure with expansive history of all statements. This brings a lot of your current software together, which increases the value Black Diamond brings as a whole. One of the statements I did make in the very beginning is Black Diamond is a front to back solution. And I've covered a lot of back office functionality, which kind of brings me to my next slide here, and it's the client experience, or the portal. This is a web-based portal that can be accessed via your client's computers, laptops, or even phones through our highly rated app. This portal can be completely white labeled to your company logo and name. And the cool thing with the app is it will show in the App Store as your company's app. In this specific case, you'd search Deliver Wealth Management and it would bring it right up. The power of the portal goes beyond its appearance. So it can automatically update household information, load custodial statements, streamline DocuSign, and gives you a direct compliant line of communication through our timeline feature, which is similar to like a news feed powered by the advisor. It's even easy to get clients started with the portal. Simply take the household that was created or brought in from a CRM and invite them. Now, getting investors setting up on new technology isn't always the quickest task, but once they're configured, they'll have access to all their portfolio data, their performance, documents, and again, a direct timeline of information powered by you as the advisor. And fun integration bit here, Asset Map can upload their map to this timeline, making that map directly available to the investor whenever they want. Now, I covered a lot in a very brief time, so if anyone does have questions or wants to learn more, feel free to add those to the chat or the question box here, and either myself or someone on my team will get back to you. Okay, let's tag Alison back in to show Asset Map and highlight some of the advancements in our integration. Alison?
Thank you. That was great. And a fun bit of history. I think, gosh, it was probably 3 or 4 years now ago that I not only met Chris, but Chris showed me the Black Diamond client portal and timeline. And I was immediately blown away. I think it's the best client portal that's out there. I have a lot of history with client portals. I definitely think that Black Diamond's client timeline, client portal is second to none. And it got us really excited at AssetMap to think about how we could potentially be part of it, integrate with it, and like Chris said, share an AssetMap report, which is just a phenomenal visual to get the clients really engaged with what they're working on with their financial professional right in their own access. So, I mean, we were super stoked to do that. So, and again, before I jump into AssetMap, we were doing that first, and through a lot of demand after giving the ability of sharing that AssetMap report, you know, kind of what you see right in front of you now, to the Black Diamond timeline. And of course, the advisor can decide what they do and don't want to share on the timeline, whether they want to share it even individually, I think, between the client and the spouse. I think that's even a capability.
Yeah, and the cool thing too here is you guys were actually the first people to code to our timeline. So
no kidding. Oh.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, very cool. But yeah, we were stoked to do it because they're just they're doing it better than anybody else as far as financial technology goes. So all of that being said, you all get to see that in just a few minutes. Like Chris, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on AssetMap in case you're either new to it or like Chris said, you haven't seen it in a little while. We've had a lot of really exciting updates in the last couple of months. So let's get into it. We like to say with this first opening slide, everybody has heard a picture is worth 1,000 words. But, you know, in the case of AssetMap, we think that a picture is worth 1,000 good decisions. It's going to uncover so many great things for the advisor and the client or prospective client to talk about based on making everything super engaging and super visual. So we find that financial professionals, and when I say financial professionals, I mean CPAs, estate attorneys, traditional wealth managers, life insurance advisors, all of these folks are facing similar issues in their firms and in the industry. Things like time to credibility. You know, how long does it take for you to meet with a client or prospect to really get to a point where you're building that relationship, you're building trust, and you're making great decisions together? AssetMap really, you know, kind of jumps in and decreases that time to credibility, doing things like setting up direct to client fact finder. Find out a little bit more about them before they come into a meeting so that you have an idea of what they're going to want to talk about, giving you almost permission to talk about things that they uncovered to you ahead of time. Really, really getting to that place of trust early in the relationship. Also, of course, complexity of deliverables. This probably won't surprise anybody, but there's so many, you know, reports and algorithms and charts that can be included in deliverables to clients that it can kind of overwhelm people and almost paralyze them from staying engaged in the conversation, making good decisions. And we really attempt to, in a minimal amount of pages, get what's most important in front of the client when it comes to reports, knocking down that kind of barrier of being just overwhelmed and paralyzed from making decisions. And finally, scalability of advice. You know, how many times have we heard, you know, I have 200-300 clients and about 50 or 75 of them I keep in contact really regularly. But the rest of the folks maybe don't demand something so complex, or maybe I'm not involved in a financial planning agreement with them. AssetMap allows for really great advice, goal-based planning, and conversations, allowing you to talk to more people and give more advice to those who need it, without it taking 6-8 hours to get to a place where you're comfortable to share. So there's, you know, kind of the themes that we're hearing that we're really attempting to bridge the gap for. We feel like also there are really 3 stages of the client relationship where we shine, where we can come in and really assist. And that's during that initial discovery process. I mentioned, you know, finding out a little bit about a client before a meeting can really just increase that trust and get the conversation going quickly. Certainly nice to know a little bit about someone, you know, before you even maybe have that first Zoom call. Also at times of recommendations and advice. So if you're making a recommendation that a client potentially look into a new product or make a change to their existing plan, having them stay super engaged through the visuals of an AssetMap and really have that open conversation is so important, you know, as you're kind of recommending that they do something new. And goes without saying, ongoing engagement, semi-annual reviews, annual reviews, popping it up and saying, hey, Chris, since the last time we spoke about 6 months ago, let's take a look at your asset map and see what maybe has changed since then. And because it's super easy to understand and they are looking at basically their own life on a page, they're going to be able to say, well, I really need to start thinking about education planning for my daughter. And because it's, again, showing it to you right in front of you on the map, that conversation just flows so nicely. So they're really the levels of, or moments of opportunity and levels of engagement where the advisor can use an asset map to do what they do best and offer advice. A few things that we're seeing as results for the firms that are using asset map, and I'll blow through these quickly and get to the meat of the product. We're seeing that advisors are experiencing up to 43% of higher annual revenue based on them using asset map versus their peers. And again, that's due to kind of speeding up the process, allowing you to scale, and really kind of offering up great advice, but using simple and productive visuals to do so. Speed to clarity. So we want advisors and clients to have that clear conversation, enabling the clients to make great decisions, but quickly, because again, they're staying engaged and they're not overwhelmed. And finally, trust. Those that are using asset map are getting to trust really quickly with their clients. This might sound like, something cheesy that you think I made up, but I hear it at least a dozen times a month. My clients will see an asset map and they say, this is what I always wanted, but I had no idea how to ask my advisor for it, because it's something new, it's a little bit different, and it's not the status quo. And that means a lot to us when we hear that from our clients, the advisors that we serve. So a couple of different features that I will cover quickly, and then we're going to jump into the integration. This is what that screen looks like when you have a direct-to-client fact finder link. So I can send this out, in this case, to Stephen and Kate. Hey, go through this process. Tell me a little bit more about yourselves before the meeting. Not only is it going to give you insight, but it's also going to pre-build that asset map behind the scenes. You're going to get a notification, and whatever they feel comfortable sharing, you're going to be able to view and check out before they come in. So it's saving you time, and it's also giving you great insight. And it's super, super client friendly. I've never heard anybody say it was too complicated to get through. Now, here's kind of the bread and butter of asset map. It's certainly what we're known for most, and that visual view of a household. You're going to notice up at the top that there are a multitude of family members in this situation. We've got the client and spouse, the kids, a couple trusts, a business interest, a business partner. The value of this is I can click off into any of those different folks up at the top, and it's going to change the visual in the middle, allowing us to have that appropriate conversation about whatever topic we want. So certainly we're going to talk about Tim and Christine, the client and spouse in this case. You can see income over on the top left individually for Tim, investments that he owns individually on the left. Same goes on the right for Christine. It looks like she is that business, has that business interest with SMB Printers and John Smith. Any individual, or I'm sorry, joint assets and liabilities down at the bottom, and insurance policies at the top. So if I were to click on Grandma Beatrice or Joshua Jenkins, we could talk about, why is Grandma included, financially? Is she dependent on us in any way? Or let's talk about education planning for Joshua. Based on whatever we want to talk about, I can get that visual on the asset map report to support what we're talking about, which is always super important. A couple of other great things I'd like to highlight. This is going to show you the same asset map report. We've got Christine up here, but we offer what's called stencils for asset map. A stencil is basically a placeholder to have a discussion about something they might not have, something that a lot of times their peers might have, which gives you a great conversation piece. So we might add in a millennial stencil based on their age, or maybe we work with a lot of executives from a pharmaceutical company that have a lot of similar types of accounts. We can put in those $1 placeholders for any type of folks and say, you know what, Christine, this all looks great, but have you considered a Roth IRA? A lot of people in your situation have something similar to that. And you can make custom stencils, you can use ours, but it's giving you that kind of permission to talk about things that you think might be really important. And because it's listed on the asset map, it's a nice reminder for you as well. As you can see here, you can draw right on the asset map as well. Certainly popular on smart boards or on big screens in the office, but it's very remote friendly as well. Couple more things here and we'll jump in. We've got the newest thing that we've listed out here at asset map, which is signals. You want to think about signals as almost a check engine light for your plan. So you have all this great data in Asset Map. Potentially you've had the client fill out their fact finder. You have great data coming in from Black Diamond. You've made some tweaks yourself with the client. It's going to go out there and say, based on everything you've told us about, in this case, the Jenkins, you might want to talk to them about long-term care or disability or legal liability. But in this case, liquidity looks fine. The algorithm is going to run behind the scenes and base it on a red, yellow, or green, and let you know what would be some really valuable conversations for you to have with really anybody in your book of business based on what you've put into the Asset Map report. Staff members, advisors themselves are coming in here and checking these signals before they make phone calls to clients to talk about things that are really valuable and might potentially be an issue. And finally, target maps. This is our, goal-based planning application that, lets someone know if they're funded for their goals in 15, 20 minutes instead of 4 or 5 hours. We're going to keep it pretty simple, but we're also going to let you know if people are on track for retirement and maybe some things that they can do to get a bit closer. Save a little bit more, a higher expected rate of return. You can tweak these on the fly and really get to a great conversation with your clients about what they can do to get closer to their goals, whether it be retirement, education planning, or even a custom goal like saving for a wedding. All of that can be listed out right in the target map area and get you ready to go to meet those goals. Cash flow build-in if you want to get a little deeper into the numbers. And you can see that you can have a whole list of different target maps that you can do for your clients. So without further ado, let's jump in. I'm going to swap applications. Chris, anything you'd like to add to any of that while I'm getting switched up here?
No, that sounded great. I was actually about to give you a drum roll for this whole thing, but
all right, give me a drum roll. All right, let's get our screen shared and we will talk about the integration. Okay, can you see my Asset Map screen, Chris?
Yes, I can. It's perfect.
Okay, cool. So Black Diamond, like I said, we integrated with Black Diamond originally, let's call it 4 years ago, which gave us the ability to post to the timeline with an Asset Map report. I'm going to show you guys that as well toward the end here. But let's talk about what people really want from an Asset Map integration with really any of our partners, but specifically today with Black Diamond. So I have all this great data that lives in the Black Diamond platform. I don't want to rekey it into Asset Map, and I would love to get the updated values on my Asset Map report. That's exactly what the Black Diamond integration is going to do. So if I go into, I'm in what we call our household index now, and you're always going to see in Asset Map this little home screen on the left-hand side. If I click Add Household, I have 3 options. Discovery, that's what I showed you before, which is the client fact finder. Let them tell you a little bit about themselves first. Manually, that would be like if Chris and I were in the office together and we were working on Asset Map almost as a project. We were just kind of filling it out together in an interview process. Very, very popular way to do it and a great way to uncover opportunities. But what we're here to do today is integrations. Let's say we already have information living in Black Diamond. Why would I put it in manually? I'm going to jump into Black Diamond and I'm going to be able to search for any of my clients that live in that platform. And then it's going to give me a couple options. So we're going to search for who Chris recommended I use the other day, and it worked great. The Rogers family. And could we be any more clear over at our friends at Black Diamond? Rogers family with accounts. So I definitely chose that one because I knew it was going to load up some good accounts for me, and it worked. So we're going to go ahead and import. And within a couple seconds, it's going to say, instead of import, it's going to say view. And what we just did behind the scenes was we created a client. Chris mentioned in the beginning of his presentation, you know what? We're able to pull great data from even other CRMs. So anything that's living in Black Diamond for that particular client, including, dates of birth and such, are going to load right up into the Asset Map. And I can now view that. So without further ado, let's log in. We're going to see what popped open for the Rogers family. So let's click into the Asset Map report. I'm going to load it up. And we're going to see we have Nick and Fred Rogers. We have a bunch of investments that came over through the Black Diamond integration. Right off the bat, you're going to notice that we have 4 accounts over here for Nick and 1 for Fred. If I click into, let's say, this Schwab account, I'm going to notice a couple things. I have a value, which is great. So notice I can't change that value. Reason is it's coming from another source, so we don't want to mess with it. coming over from Black Diamond, our source of truth in this case. It let us know the reference name. It let us know the location. So in this case, it looks like it's held over at Schwab. And I can even come up here and say, let's jump into the little Black Diamond logo at the top in what we call our modal. And it's going to give me the top 10 holdings and some additional account information for this particular account in Black Diamond. So essentially, it's letting us have a conversation even about some Black Diamond investments without even having to necessarily jump right into their platform. Now, that being said, I can always click on View Record in Black Diamond and pop over there if I want to have a little bit more of an in-depth conversation about Nick Rogers' accounts. But right here, it lives in the asset map report, which is super exciting. And the same goes for, Fred's accounts, Nick's accounts, any family member that would be included, that would pop over. The value in that alone is extremely valuable in that it saved you time from typing it in, and it does give you that ability to get the live values. So you can see if I go back to my main page here, so I clicked on Rogers Family with accounts, and it'll say, here are your integrations. We have enabled for this particular family Black Diamond and a little sync button. So it might be interesting to you, but as this is an API integration, we're not automatically updating that at close of business every day. And some people might say, well, is that super valuable? I think it actually is, because that allows me to jump into the asset map report in 3 months when Chris comes in again and say, well, let's look at where we were a couple months ago and let's see, what's changed over the last couple months since we've met. Doing a resync is as easy as clicking that little button right next to it, and it takes about 3 seconds to sync back up. So that is as easy as it is to load up a new household in Black Diamond, in Asset Map from Black Diamond. If I would like to, I'll show you one more thing before I show you how to post to the timeline, and we'll take questions, of course. If I would like to add the Black Diamond integration to an existing household, maybe that household is someone who did that client fact finder that we offer. I'm going to look for another household that I already have in existence in Asset Map, but I have not yet loaded up the live accounts from the Black Diamond system. I could then come up here and I could, I broke it, unfortunately. Well, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to link up the DuPont family. Let's link up DuPont. So I searched for a client, and you can see we have Nathan loaded up, but I think there's somebody else that we can add to this scenario. So we're going to search for the DuPonts. We do. So we have Laura. Let's say I search for this household in Asset Map. I see that Nathan has his accounts loaded up. They're linked up, but I see Laura, maybe she's opened up a newer investment or two over in the Black Diamond system. She's now under my portfolio. I can click import for her to an existing household. Now, again, the use case is I've already loaded them up into Asset Map. I just never added Black Diamond. I can do that at any point. So let's go ahead and import Laura's to an existing household. Super, super simple. It's almost the same process, but it gives you the ability to add accounts to a household that already exists. So you're not double counting anything. And then we're able to, of course, jump right into Laura DuPont, get to her household and see what we got. Oh, we switched systems. Okay, let's go back here this way. There's Laura. So this is a bit of test data, as you can tell, Chris. This one has all kinds of wacky titles and such, but when you're in a test environment, sometimes the titles are weird, but you can see here that we have a multitude of different accounts, some jointly owned, some owned by Laura and Nathan respectively. And again, same deal. You can come in, see the details, and get that holdings information right in the asset map report. Chris, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think the execution for it is truly unique, especially with the ability to just jump back to Black Diamond and get on that portfolio so quickly. It's awesome.
I love that feature. We do that with a couple of integration partners where you're able to, like I said, have that initial conversation about what's super important, between Asset Map or Black Diamond respectively. And then if you want to get a little deeper, jump right into that particular client without having to search around in the Black Diamond system.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So last but not least, let's say I have just met with Nathan and Laura, and maybe Nathan was in the office and Laura couldn't make it, and she wants to be able to view the report that we went over in the meeting that she missed. I would then, in that case, jump into her, what we call member modal, click on her name, and go over to the Black Diamond logo again. Now, it's the same exact logo that you saw when you saw the investments as well, but if I click on it here, it's going to have a different message. It's going to say, this asset map member record is linked up to Black Diamond. As a client user, from this tab, you can copy this asset map report directly to the Black Diamond timeline, which Chris talked about a few minutes ago. So if I go ahead and click post to Black Diamond timeline, some magic goes on behind the scenes. It's going to create a PDF of that asset map report, as you can see. And it's going to take a few seconds for me to fill time by chatting about it, creating a PDF. And before you know it, it's going to pop up a new screen right in Black Diamond, enabling us to do a few things. And of course, give that client the ability through their own login at Black Diamond to see that report. Chris, what about the Black Diamond timeline while we're waiting would also be valuable for everyone to know? Anything interesting about it?
Well, yeah, so the timeline is essentially completely, like, it's a curated list of content that you are delivering. So, you know, you can put just general news stuff in here. You can have documents be tracked in here. So like if you have like an onboarding process and you have, let's say you need to get 6 or 5 documents signed and taken care of, you can have that checklist actively monitored within the timeline. The integration is another one. And so we try to make this, you know, something that you have a direct line of communication. So instead of emailing, and again, you can always email, and I think there's abilities to say like email and let them know that something's posted to the timeline as well. But you know, it's just, they open up the app and there's something new there, whether it's, you know, they open it every 6 months and they see like new marketing content, or they open it every week and they see performance and account information being updated and changed so that they can go through and look and see exactly what has happened. Again, it just depends on the specific investor.
Yeah, we're big into engaging clients in any way possible and keeping them involved with the process at AssetMap. And this, I mean, you can't do any better than, you know, getting some really exciting content to their login and have it be not the same old thing every time they log in. We love that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can see you have some options up at the top, and I'll let Chris correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, but, you know, you can come in here and say, I guess if I don't, you know, notify a user, it'll just live there. It won't send them a message. You know, there's a lot of, it looks like capabilities to set this up exactly how you like. Like Chris said, it's curated. It's really specific to what you think your clients would like and what you're comfortable with. I love the future post date as well. So if I come in here and choose a different date and say, well, it's Sunday, I'm working for a couple hours, but I don't really want to bother my client on a weekend, you know, you could probably just go ahead and set it up to send for Tuesday. Really, really nice feature. All of that being said, you can see the asset map report is living down here at the bottom. So it's already concluded for you. And I can come in here and say, meeting, don't judge my typing, meeting follow-up. Great seeing you last week as promised. Here is, geez, here is your asset map report. Now that you've all gotten a view into my typing skills, I can even add emojis if I want to. I mean, Black Diamond is on the cutting edge of keeping things super up to date. So I could throw a laughing emoji in there if I wanted to. But I am able to send this to an individual user. I can send it to all users. You know, again, if that's maybe a client and spouse or just the client or spouse, I can do that. And just like that, I can post. And goes ahead and sends them a new message. It will notify them if I want it to. And I guess, Chris, I could always jump over to the timeline, I guess, and see what we've got here.
And this is the advisor's perspective of the timeline. To see like the actual client's perspective of the timeline, it just kind of take away some of the stuff on the side. It's basically the exact same thing. But yeah, this is what you see.
Yeah, it's really nice. So, I mean, this is one of our more robust integrations in that it is a bit of a two-way integration, kind of including, of course, the Black Diamond information on the asset map report, but then also getting that asset map loaded back up for the client to view whenever they like. So it's a great integration. You know, I think the update, as I said, when we started with this piece first, you know, we started getting a lot of requests to, you know, hey, this is great, but we would love to get those super, you know, up to date and robust financials into the asset map report from Black Diamond, it was a no-brainer. So that's what we did. I certainly want to give time. So we try to keep things short and sweet around here, but I want to give time for any questions or comments. So feel free to type it in either the chat or the Q&A. Certainly it's pretty straightforward what we showed you, but if anybody has any questions or wishes to learn anything different or more, please go ahead and let us know. Chris, something else we could do in the meantime, if we're waiting for questions, is there anything or any place someone should go specifically to find out more about Black Diamond, and if they have any questions, who they should chat with?
Yeah, I mean, they can head directly just to our site, you know, and I think it's just blackdiamond.com kind of deal. So, I mean, you can head over there. There's multiple sign-up sheets to learn more. We'll have someone reach out to you guys. We have multiple steps for kind of going through it. I mean, we can demo the platform for you guys, just multiple levels of interest that we can help gauge and kind of help you guys. Because again, switching over to Black Diamond is a lot of times a really big ask, and it's a lot of work. And so we want to make sure that all the work that you're going to be putting into it is met with setting the proper expectations of what it is, how powerful it is, and how to work with it. So there's a big kind of a multi-step process on getting started.
Yeah, no, you certainly offer a lot of different solutions. So getting to the right person is always nice, and you have an easy to navigate website. So I believe that's true.
Yeah, yeah, and everyone can message me too. I'll put my email address directly in the chat, and if anyone has questions, they can reach out to me directly.
That sounds great. No, I appreciate that. Anything else you think I missed that we should add, or you think we covered it all?
I think you covered the integration, certainly. And, you know, I learned a lot about Asset Map as well. So I think as far as going over what it can do, I think we definitely highlighted a lot of its capabilities. That's
great. Well, we were thrilled to have you all today. Chris got his email address in the chat. I will throw mine in there as well. I also put in hello@assetmap.com if you just want a general question, but I'm always happy to chat with anybody who has any questions, especially around integrations. It's a fun topic that, you know, we get a lot of requests about. So I'm happy we were able to do this update, Chris, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.